Hello. This video log pertains to text-to-911 service for emergencies. With smartphones, like for example iPhones, a person could send a text message to 911 in the event of an emergency, like say a fire, an injury, or an accident. 911 would then call an ambulance, the police, or the fire department to come and help in response to that emergency. Unfortunately, we do not have that kind of service available in Rhode Island. Katie Davis is an investigative reporter for NBC 10 TV News. And she's done 5 investigative reports this year about 911 centers and text to 911. She has noticed several issues that have come up and has informed both the public and the deaf community about them. We want the community to be aware that the funds used for 911 centers have not been properly allocated. Most recently on May 31st, NBC 10 TV News conducted an interview with me about how text to 911 service could impact the deaf community. In the interview, I mentioned that text to 911 would have a huge impact on the community because live telephone conversations are virtually impossible unless you are at home or at work and have a video phone or video relay services available. For anywhere else out in the public, text to 911 capability would be a necessity. 20% of the state's population, about 200,000 people, are either deaf or hard of hearing. What do they do in an emergency? Now, I'd like to talk about how the funding works. On your landline telephone bill, there are taxes and surcharges listed along with your plan. You'll notice that you pay about a $1 surcharge every month for 911 services. Likewise, for your cell phone, you'll also notice on your bill a list of taxes and surcharges along with your plan. You'll notice that you pay a $1 surcharge every month for 911 services there too. People all over Rhode Island pay these surcharges every month for 911 services. In 2017, $17 million were collected from these surcharges. That full amount was supposed to be allocated specifically for 911 centers, but much of that money was diverted to the general fund. The money in the general fund can be used for various state departments and agencies, such as the Department of Education, the Department of Health, the Department of Transportation, or for capital projects under the Department of Administration, you name it. The legislature and the governor are responsible for establishing the budget, and they decided to allocate only $5.4 million of that $17 million to 911 centers. That $5.4 million is used to pay for staff, for computers, and operating expenses. So the issue is that instead of getting the full $17 million collected from landline and wireless telephone surcharges, 911 centers are only getting $5.4 million. So the remaining $11.6 million has been spread throughout the general fund, but it should have been dedicated to 911 centers. That's the problem. And this is a problem because 911 centers have found it difficult to upgrade to newer computer systems. In fact, right now, they're relying on old computer operational systems in need of updating. Not to mention that establishing text to 911 service has been delayed. And because their funding has been limited to only $5.4 million, 911 centers have been unable to hire staff to get text to 911 service off the ground. More funds dedicated to supporting 911 centers can meet these needs. So, how can this be solved? One possible solution is that a few legislators at the State House are proposing legislation, House Bill 7289 and Senate Bill 2197, recommending that all 911 surcharges collected go directly to 911 centers. Funds would be deposited in a receipt account for 911 centers to keep instead of going to the general fund and used for other purposes. Historically, 911 surcharges were allocated directly to 911 centers up until about the year 2000. Then, for some reason, the General Assembly made a decision to divert that money to the general fund, and that has been the practice since. By the way, Rhode Island is not the only state doing this. 6 other states are experiencing the same problem. So the state of Rhode Island is trying to resolve this issue. If the proposed legislation were to pass, the full $17 million could go to 911 centers, and they could use the funds to upgrade to new technology, install Text-to-911 capability, and hire more staff to work at the 911 centers. As a result, their emergency response service would dramatically improve in both timeliness and efficiency, while keeping up with technology too. Now, here's what you can do to help. You can send a letter to the House Finance Committee and Senate Finance Committee supporting those 2 bills I mentioned, House Bill 7289 and Senate Bill 2197. Show your support by sending letters to those 2 committees. So that way all the money you pay on your telephone bill, meaning the dollar surcharge, goes to 911 and not elsewhere. So send in those letters. Legislators have tried to pass these bills since 2016, but have failed each time. The 5 investigative reports conducted by NBC 10 TV News have helped to bolster efforts to get this legislation passed. Now it's our duty to get on board and lobby in support of these bills in hopes that full funding will enhance 911 services, including Text-to-911. By doing that, we can help to save someone's life, or even our own. Thank you.